Hey, it's Joy. I've got big feelings about little things, and I want to talk about it. Oh yeah, I'm mad about it. And the fact that everyone else is not up in arms about it is a big part of the problem. Oh, I bawled my eyes out, like I always do. It was the sweetest thing. Oh, it was the cutest thing. It was the funniest thing. Thanks for being here. Let's go. Hi, thanks so much for being here. By now, you know the drill. I've got big feelings this week. It's about something small, but it doesn't feel small to me. I think that's the key. These things may seem small to other people, but to me, it is producing these big feelings, so it does feel pretty big. I got in the mail, I got a beautiful handwritten thank you note from a friend that I've had for many years. She is having a baby, which is, of course, such an exciting time. Unfortunately, I did not make it to her baby shower, but I sent over a gift, and I got the sweetest thank you note in the mail, which, number one, to get something in the mail that is not a bill or an advertisement or something left over from the last person that lived there, that was actually addressed to me and someone took the time to think of me, to write this, to get my address, to find a stamp. I mean, God bless me. I couldn't find a stamp in my house. If it was saving my life, I probably could, but it's not something that is nearby, and I'm always just have a stamp there. They're tucked away somewhere just in case I need to mail something, but that's not a common situation for me. So that all that thought went into it. And then when I opened it up and read it, of course, it had the classic, dear Joy, and thank you for I don't even know what I got her, onesies and bottles or something. I don't know. But she talked about how excited they are to have the baby coming. And then she mentioned a little old inside joke between the two of us, which just reminded me of how precious our friendship is. And it was such a sweet moment just to have that we had between us, even though, she wrote that days ago and I was enjoying it today. And it just I welled up with just love and appreciation. And I just realized too, I have not gotten a thank you note, especially one in the mail, for a really, really long time. And I'm starting to wonder, I'm not starting to wonder, I truly think that might be passé. I wish it weren't. It was such an encouraging and fun treat. And, from my history, that kind of thing used to be going on a lot. When I was a kid, I had to write a thank you note. If I got something for my birthday or for Christmas or for a graduation gift or something of that nature, it was expected of me to write a thank you note. And I learned how to do it. It was a chance for me to work on my penmanship. It was a chance for me to practice gratitude. And I'm kind of, at the time I was like, well, I didn't mind doing it. I appreciated the stuff, but I was a little bit like, okay, notes. But I'm grateful my mom and my dad too, kind of grew that in me to learn how to do it and to practice that. And over time, just like I'm noticing in society, that has decreased in me quite a bit. But I believe, and this is a public format, so if you're going to say, well, I've gotten you a couple things and you've never even looked at me and said thank you, this is your opportunity. This is the nice thing about doing this publicly. But I do believe I'm still grateful. I don't necessarily write a handwritten note for it, but I'll say thank you. I'll text you that. I will show my appreciation in some way. I haven't lost the gratitude portion of it, but I am missing a little bit of that in our society, because I mentioned this to my mom and she said, oh, I haven't gotten a thank you note for anything in years. When kids graduate, they don't write thank you notes anymore. People barely write thank you notes for gifts that you get at a shower or wedding or anything. And I was like, that actually is accurate for me as well. And I know how I sound. I sound disconnected because I've brought this up to a couple of other people and they're like, oh yeah, that's past it. That is definitely a thing of the past. We're not doing that anymore and thrilled to not be doing that anymore. But could we have some kind of in between where we just at least express our gratitude to one another? I mean, I have sent a couple of, like I sent a graduation Amazon gift card, like in a text to somebody, and I don't even know if they got it. Did they get it? Did they use it? Was there money on it? Did you know it was from me? Did you appreciate it? I have no idea. I didn't even get back a thanks. I didn't even get a thumbs up like on the text. So I don't know. I mean, I hope you got it. Hope you liked it. I assume everybody likes Amazon. It's an easy guess that someone can use it. Probably the same for, I don't know, a DoorDash or something. And I'm hopeful, but there is a little bit of me that's missing that. I mean, truthfully, I would like to at least know, hey, yeah, the money that's out of your account now, it got spent on whatever. I mean, I don't even need to know what you used it for. That's not what I mean. I just mean, yeah, I received it and I used it. Cool. And there's been a couple times where someone will put something on social media. Hey, we need this for whatever. Could you Venmo me for whatever, this thing or that thing? And that, I'm like, can you at least thumbs up the transaction? Just let me know you got it. Let me know you see it. Let me know. A text would be a delight. But, just a little like, okay, thanks. Got it. Because back in the day, when we had, kids are not going to know what this is, but we had a lady called Dear Abby. And she was in the newspaper, which is sort of like your news feed, but on a real piece of paper that got thrown into your driveway in the morning, either by a teenage boy or by his mom that was doing his job for him because, he couldn't get out of bed. So you'd open it up and someone would have written her a letter. Dear Abby, I need this, I need that, or I'm curious about this. How do we handle this? And she would suggest. Now, a little side note, she also had a sister named, her stage name was Ann Landers, and she did something similar, and they were competing sisters. One would have a contract with these newspapers and the other would have a contract with these newspapers. And then they would try to get the other contracts and win. And they would try to be in all these. And that's kind of an interesting little side note that I didn't mean to get into. But we had people to go to say, this is what the etiquette is. This is kind of our accepted rule of society. Here's what we should all be kind of going toward. And I feel like a little bit, we don't have that anymore. Everybody's like, you do you. I mean, that's literally something I hear people say. You do you, I'll do me. Don't tell me what to do. Well, we'll do this thing, we'll do that thing. And that's fine, because who is the person that decides? Who's the one that says, hey, I'm going to teach you what etiquette is? I mean, we really don't have that anymore in society, which is freeing. But I also wonder, have we gone a little too far in that way? Now, before we move on, I want to clarify, before I lose you, I want to clarify something I want to be extremely clear about this, okay? If you are in some kind of tragic circumstance, somebody in your family is in the hospital, somebody has passed away, somebody has been in an accident, some challenging sickness, that type of thing, if people are reaching out to you and doing things for you and sending food and that type of thing, that is not at all the circumstance that I'm describing, okay? Not only do you not owe anybody a thank you note for that, don't you dare. We as a society owe you at minimum a casserole. You're not going to get a casserole from me. You don't want one. You want a DoorDash gift card. Okay? And so that's what I'll send. You don't want me making a casserole. But we do those things because that's what human beings do. When someone in the community is suffering, we come together and help you. That is not at all the circumstances I'm describing. I'm talking about, hey, something fun is happening and we all want to celebrate it. And I'm going to make a list of the stuff I'd like you to get me so we can all celebrate this together. Why don't you get it for me and have it mailed to my house, or wrap it up and bring it to the same house and we'll all open it together while we eat little cucumber sandwiches and drink tea. That's what I'm talking about. Those types of circumstances. Or a wedding where I think the etiquette still is you have a year to say thank you. A year. That's plenty. A year. I mean, listen, hey, we know you're busy. Hey, we know you're probably changing location. You probably had a honeymoon. You're probably coming down from all this planning. We're not expecting it, the next day. We give you a year. You get a year. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm talking about those types of circumstances. But the additional feeling that I have on top of this. So I have feelings about missing thank you cards, and I have feelings about missing handwritten letters, and I have feelings about sometimes feeling like people aren't grateful for the things that we do for one another. But what I need to express is the bigger feeling that I have is that telling you this makes me feel so out of touch. I feel like I'm one of those people saying, back in the day, we used to this, we used to that. And I'd be a kid saying, well, Mama, it ain't that day anymore. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. Me and Michael Bublé are doing new stuff over here. So let's go. It's not yesterday. But now I'm the one saying, I kind of miss blank. And I was watching this show. I was watching this random show that I know for a fact you have not watched. No one watched it. I think I'm the only one that watched it. It's called Feud. And they've had a couple of seasons. One of them was about these two actresses that were in the same movie, and they feuded for most of their career. Joan Crawford, Bette Davis. It was fascinating. The next season was about a guy named Truman Capote, who was an author, but more than that, he was like a big socialite, big personality. And a lot of his friends were these women. This is I'm talking about the 60s, I think, like very late 50s, 60s time frame. And they were the socialites. Okay. They did not leave the house without their hair set. They did not leave the house without being in full dress. And I'm talking about pantyhose and heels and probably gloves and a hat and a matching purse and the whole thing. The lipstick's perfect. They wanted everyone to think their lives were perfect. They would the ladies who lunch, they would all go to lunch together and have martinis at lunch. These women were very proper, extremely proper. Now talk about some women that knew etiquette. They knew every little detail of etiquette and they followed it to the T. Now, one of the reasons this was so fun to watch is because I don't have that kind of energy, but watching Naomi Watts dressed like that, Demi Moore, and all these, it was fantastic. Chloe Sevigny, it was like fabulous to watch them. But here they are, they're going, and they're friends with this guy Truman. So you know what happens when you become friends with somebody. You'll learn all their junk. You learn all the tea about them, and you know all the good, but you also know all the bad. And instead of keeping that to himself like a friend should, you don't need an etiquette class to know that. That's what friends do. He took all that information and wrote about it and put out an article with all their deepest, darkest secrets and very thinly veiled who it was so everybody knew who he was talking about. Well, big shock, that broke up their relationship. That broke up their friendship. So that's what that season of television's about. But they had this episode that I'm telling you, it kicked me right in the gut. There was 2 scenes in this show. One scene was this woman walking into her favorite hat store. Okay? Some guy is an expert and he has a hat store. She walks in and almost everything's off the shelves. And she has this eerie feeling and she's like, "What? Hey, what's going on here?" And the guy says, "We're going out of business because people don't wear hats anymore. And I can't make a living at it." And she's like, what do you mean people don't wear hats anymore?" He said, "It's just not the way." So she says, "Box up everything you have. I'll send someone by to pick it up. Just give me everything else you have." And she kind of walked out stunned. Like, I can't believe there's no hats. Later in that same episode, these 2 friends go up to, I don't know what it was, the Dillard's, Macy's, whatever, the department store. They go up to the 3rd floor where they always go. They go into the glove section and they look around and there's not a glove to be seen. And she says, "Excuse me, where's Mildred?" or whatever. And the lady says, "Who?" And she said, "Mildred, the glove lady. Where's the glove section? Where are all the gloves?" And this young woman, beautiful young woman says, "Our clients just don't have the need for gloves anymore. We might have a pair or 2 tucked back in the lingerie section or something. I don't know. Sorry." And the heartbreak and the realization and the connecting of the dots of those women of realizing, oh, what was so important to me for all these years, what remains important to me is passé. And it's so unimportant to the rest of the world, I don't even have access to it anymore. It was heavy and beautiful, and I'll probably think about it every time something like this comes up. I wish I could send you all a thank you note for listening to this episode. We don't track it that closely, but if you DM me, I will consider it. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Little Things, Big Feelings with Joy Delaney. I'm James, the producer, editor, director, and executive producer. Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Honestly, forget TikTok. I don't even know how to use it
You don't
anyway.
even know how to use it anyway.
James?
Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram and Facebook. See you next week.